Welcome to Echoes of Understanding with Steph and Pete. We are two neurodivergent people who have been through our own journeys of growth and self-discovery. As coaches, we have real conversations about life, personal growth, and seeing the world through different perspectives. We're all about nuance, empathy, and a lot of fun. Thanks for joining. Welcome,
Echoes
guys.
of Understanding. Welcome to Echoes of Understanding right here on Noon Vibe. Echoes of Understanding with Steph and Pete.
I got the whole title in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's a
that's
long
neat. Yeah. Very talented woman. You are very, very talented.
Well, it gave me the space, so yay.
Yeah.
Guys, we're talking about beyond assumptions today.
Yeah, I assume so.
I know, well, you advocate for people with disabilities.
Yeah, I do.
You must experience this a lot and hear the stories from people.
Yeah, particularly people who, young men and women, and older too, that are on the spectrum, that may look, quote unquote, like everybody else around them, but are very sensitive to sound, light, certain excitable, whatever they find excitable in their environment. And folks may not necessarily see that. Strobe lights, you name it, they may be very sensitive to those things. I think I was sharing with you something recently with when a police officer showed up for a shoplifter at a store, local store here in Virginia. And the young man that I knew, as soon as the police walked in, there was a lot of screaming. They had to subdue this shoplifter, and there was a lot going on. And the police officer assumed that this young man was with the shoplifter simply because he didn't know what to do. He kind of froze, and then he started really responding in a way that he kind of responds when overstimulated. So he's frightened. And so the police officer wasn't used to that, saw it as suspicious activity. And yeah.
And that can so easily happen with people. Like if someone's having a reaction, it's like, oh, calm down. What's wrong with you? And I get it. It's unnerving. It's unsettling.
Yeah.
You don't know. You're like, oh, are they angry or are they going to lash out? But a lot of times, like you're saying, people can be overwhelmed, overstimulated. And if they are autistic or like I'm an HSP,
Yeah.
I can handle, like, I just inwardly kind of don't enjoy it,
Right.
but I don't act like I'm going to be a disturbance or anything. But I don't like stuff when there's loud noises. I get overwhelmed and overstimulated, and I'll be like, oh, like I'll cover my ears because it's too loud, or my body feels like it's overstimulated.
Yeah.
And I have had that. What's wrong with you stuff. But of course, like it's more serious when there's somebody who's seemingly having a reaction and people don't. You're assuming what you think you know about it.
But you don't really know.
You don't know.
Until you know, right? I know that, like, until I learned how to be a little bit better at events, it always looked like it didn't look like it. I arrived late and left early, right? Simply because I don't have the social battery that other people have. And that's just because of, neurodivergence, ADHD. And I don't hang out for that long that well, right? So I show up, hit them hard, and not yet, because after a while, I just kind of get, I think I'm getting better, but I just kind of my social battery burns out. It becomes harder and harder to pick up on like social cues, kind of read the room somehow. I'm reading the energy in the room. That's not a problem. Sometimes that is the problem, right? Because regardless of what folks may be saying or seeing around them in their atmosphere, I'm picking up something completely different. Now I see what they see, but my perception of it can be quite different. So now I've learned to kind of, beg your pardon, like harness that. But before it was like, what's up with this dude? Like this is a family event, or we've been planning for this banquet all year, and he comes late and he leaves early. And Was he okay? Yeah, he looked fine. I mean, he was great, but now he's gone. Like that type of thing. That happened a lot, right? Some people just assume like I didn't care, or maybe I thought I was too good for other people, maybe not good enough, whatever might have been, whatever they might have dreamed up. But I know um, that some folks did talk about that a little bit. Yeah. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, it's funny what people will think about. I worried about that. There have been some groups I've been a part of, family or friend groups or whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
that I just thought, oh, this is not for me. Because when after a while you were like, this is not fun anymore. I don't connect with these people. And sometimes, people might think, oh, you think you're better than us? It's
Yeah.
like, no, dude, you're not my people anymore.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
But how we, and I mean, oh my goodness, I've thought that about people. I'm like, oh, they think they're so great. I don't know what they're thinking. I'm assuming
Yeah.
what I think I know, because maybe they had, when I didn't have any confidence, Peter, I thought people who had confidence, who felt like they were worthy enough, I thought, oh, they're arrogant.
Right.
I was assuming that they thought they were all that just because they were confident in who they were,
Right.
because I didn't.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then there's the awkward pause, right? Hey, guys, good evening. I'm Peter. That's Stephanie. This is Echoes of Understanding with Steph and Pete. And tonight we're talking about beyond assumptions. And quite frankly, I don't think I've participated that much. I'm in a lot of and stuff, but I just don't have my thoughts all together because I'm actually looking to my left. So I'm broadcasting off of my iPad, and I look to my left and there's my phone. And then I'm getting text messages from,
Not for me.
no, from, yeah, the response team that I'm on. But it's just, I'm not on call for that, but I'm just reading what's going on. So a little bit disengaged. Okay. So it may have appeared that I wasn't plugged in or I didn't care, but I was otherwise occupied for a very worthy cause, I guess. But I'm back.
Oh,
I'm here. Welcome,
that's how
welcome,
we
welcome.
do. Actually, it's what you were just saying. When I was in high school, I had this girl at church. She was a pastor's daughter, so
Yeah.
popular, right? Everyone wanted to be her friend. And I remember thinking, whenever I was talking with her, she's looking around the room. And I thought, because when you hear body language, look people in the eye, and if they're not looking at you in the eye,
Yeah.
either you're boring or they're being rude.
Yeah.
But later on, and I used to think, what's wrong with me? Or why is she so rude? Oh, she's not interested in anything I have to say.
Mm-hmm.
But then, as we start to understand more about people, and I can do this too, I can start, especially if there's a lot going around me, I start looking around like, oh, there's noise over there. Oh, there's this.
Yeah.
And I realized I was doing that. And then I remember thinking, oh my goodness, maybe she just had a hard time focusing. Maybe she was
Could
neurodivergent or
be.
whatever. I
Yeah.
don't know. But I was assuming that she was being snotty, that
Right.
she wasn't paying attention because of
Mm.
what the experts say
Right.
in psychology or whatnot, right? Human, what's that? Body
Behaviorist stuff.
language,
Yeah.
behaviors. Yeah. Which I
Right.
find fascinating.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
it's funny because that's a thing. And they'll say, body language is this or this or this.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe for the most part, but when you come to something that somebody's a little bit triggered or got
Yeah.
PTSD, you don't know what's going on with them.
Mm-hmm.
They might be acting like that. And you're assuming, like, I saw that. I saw a true crime show where this girl had a lot in her background. And
Yeah.
then she was assaulted, and the police
Mm.
told her she's lying, and they didn't believe her because of how she was reacting. Well, she was reacting that way because of her past.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so it's like you're assuming based on how you thought her behavior was, thinking she's lying. Meanwhile, you don't know that she's acting like that because of her trauma.
Yeah.
So assuming.
Assumptions. Or it's like when you're in traffic and some a-hole cut you off and you pull up to him at the light and you're ready to cuss him out. Next thing you know, it's it's the pastor of your church or priest of your parish. And
Still
who, you
cuss
know, I
him
mean,
out.
all your perception really changes at that point, right? And all of a sudden you can act with love or act with some compassion. Well, maybe they just didn't see me, or whatever it is that you're dreaming up to make it okay now that you know the person in another car. Where I think if we just exercise a little bit of that, right, in our day-to-day lives, I think that just would really um, help us kind of navigate life and help us be better people, I think, and certainly better drivers.
Yeah.
Cut down on a little road rage, perhaps, maybe.
I find I can, okay. I
Mm,
I can get mad at people, right?
yeah,
Ah, you stupid, you ran the red light, you did this, or and then I'll do
right.
that another time. And I'm like, oh shoot, I was mad at that person for doing it.
Yeah.
But and sometimes, but oh, and this is one thing where I sometimes wish I had a speaker outside of the car and I go, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I didn't one time I didn't I
Stephanie.
what?
Speaker. A speaker outside your car so you can apologize. Well, I got to tell
Yes.
you, I'm not surprised. I'm not
Well,
surprised that you
sometimes I
say
want
that.
to apologize.
Yeah.
And not, yeah, well, it wouldn't be good if I want to swear at them, but um
Yeah.
this one time there's a three-way stop and the sun and people make fun of you, but the sun was
Hmm.
right there. I did not see that car and I went and she honked at me.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, I wish I could say sorry. I didn't see you. But people will assume, you stupid. You didn't see me.
Yeah. Get really
Man, so
cranky.
it helps to give more grace to people
It
when you
does.
realize, oh, maybe they didn't see me. Maybe, you never know what's happening.
Yeah. Like if we just practice acting out of love, right? Um, and kind of being in the moment as we go about our day, I think that would help us tremendously.
It
Maybe
really
pausing
would.
in your conversations. Like I have a tendency not to do that, but I've been getting better at it, right? Um, just to maybe hear someone else's point of view. Because even if they showed up for the last 10 days a certain way, doesn't mean today they're going to show up the same way. And you'll never know that if you continue to treat them based on the last 9 days. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but it feels right to me.
Well, you always make sense to me, Peter.
Mm,
Pete.
Peach.
I need to start
Peach.
calling you Pete. I don't know why I still go Peter.
I don't know. I don't know. Do you know what I do know?
What?
A few more people have joined us, and that can only mean one thing.
I know. What
Yeah,
can it
it's time
mean?
to reset.
Reset the
Welcome
room.
to Echoes of Understanding. That's Stephanie Ann Webb. I'm Peter, and we're talking about beyond assumptions. And we just appreciate you stopping by and spending some of your Saturday night with us right here on Noon Vibe. Welcome to Echoes
Yay.
of Understanding. I don't say it as well as you do. Echoes of, like you're really good at saying that, like that voiceover thing.
Oh, that's funny.
You are.
Echoes of understanding. Say what was that? There was something I was thinking. I don't know. Sometimes I find words and then I'm changing the way I think I'm changing my tagline thingy.
Okay.
And I was like, say that 5 times fast. It's a little bit tricky, but it's funny how I just start saying things 5 times fast to see how
Yeah.
hard it is.
I think it's
Sorry.
good to practice that. I think, right? It's supposed to be a good vocal exercise. I probably need to do that because I get really lazy. And right now, when I have my earphones on, it kind of gets muffled. And then, like, I'm not sure how the words come out of my mouth and they make sound a little bit slurred from time to time. And so it took a lot of getting used to wearing these earphones and talking. And as you
Mm,
know, I don't always do that.
yeah.
But I think it's just a matter of getting used to it. And I'm
Well,
getting used to it.
sound fine. You
Oh,
sound fine to me.
oh, thank you. If I don't, please let me know.
There was one thing that really helped me when it came to assuming.
Yeah.
Well, there's a few things. Okay. One of them
Hit me.
was, do you know that to be true? And then if you think you do, you're like, yes, I know
I
that to be
like
true.
that.
Do you absolutely know that to be true?
Right.
And that can get you because you're like, oh, no, I don't absolutely know that to be true.
Right. Right. Hmm.
And so to stop, like the live I did yesterday, right? I was talking about kind of similar, what we assume, and the power of pausing
Yeah.
and how important that is.
I don't pause very well for very long. I just don't. I mean, um, a lot of folks assume that I can be rude from time to time, or I like to hear myself talk if we're in a conversation, because I just have that thing where I speak over people, or like soon as something, the next thought comes to my head, I have to rush it out and get that idea out because it's right there. And that's a derivative of ADHD, uh, a derivative that I have, right? And I know that, but still the same. Like if I'm really comfortable with someone, uh, conversation is flowing, I find that I do that a whole lot. And so I've really had to practice the art of active listening, right? And I have certain ways that I do that. And I'm able to do that in my vocation. And certainly as a coach, you have to be able to do that. Because I'm a pretty good listener, believe it or not. And but if you're in conversation with me out in the world, right, socially, like you may think this guy's rude as ish. Like, dude, let me get a word in. All right, we know, yeah, you may be right, but can I talk now? And assumption, the assumption may be that I'm trying to dominate the conversation. The assumption might be he's nervous or he's agitated or whatever it might be because he keeps talking. Every time I start to talk, he's off to another subject, or maybe even supporting what I'm saying. Not necessarily one-upping me, but supporting what I'm saying, but I'm still not able to get to the end of the sentence. Because of the fact of the matter is, like, if I know what you're going to, like most people, if they know where you're going with the story, they'll just still let you tell the story, finish the sentence. If I'm not careful, if I'm in ADHD mode, it just goes bad, and it goes bad quick. By the way, a little disclaimer: I am ADHD diagnosed, and very proud of my neurodivergence. So I'm not making fun of anybody that may have ADHD, because I have it legit. So when I talk about it, I talk about my own experience, the experience that I have from the laboratory of this man's life, I'll say. So I think it's like that for me, because Work Pete, or Coach Pete, is a pretty good listener, believe it or not. Police Officer Pete, back in the day, was a really good listener. But friend Pete, like Echoes of Understanding Pete, right? He may not be that. Like if we're in a and you know that, and we boom. How do you do that? That. When we're in a conversation,
Blah, blah, blah.
yeah,
But,
that's
no,
it.
I don't know
And
what I do.
You do something that's really cool. And so they're just like that. So if I'm in a conversation with you, like, you know that I do that. And it may seem rude to you, and it probably is, but I don't mean to be rude.
The first time I had a
Saw your
chat with
face.
you, you were
Mm-hmm.
Coach Pete. And the second time you were friend Pete. And I said to you, can I talk now? Because I
Did you
didn't
say
know
that?
what was happening. And
Mm-hmm.
then you told me, and then I was like, oh, because yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
did assume that you were just wanting to talk over me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now I understand, like, but I also have been learning more about ADHD over the past few years because I thought I might have had it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the funny thing because so I used to be really shy and I didn't talk much.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I started coming out of my shell, when I worked at the call center at the bank, I became more chatty and I talked a lot. And I also overshared and said a lot of stuff that I got in trouble with at work because I wasn't very
Nice.
professional. And I was loud. But
Yeah.
I started doing that. I started interrupting people. And I was, because before that, I thought these people are so rude.
Mm-hmm.
I always get interrupted.
Yeah.
And then I heard people with ADHD
I heard.
or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
they're so excited to they have to get it out because they might forget
Yeah.
it, or they're just excited to share. And so for me, I was like, I'm just so excited to talk and share that. And then I was like, I'm talking over people. And
Mm-hmm.
realizing these people don't mean to be rude.
Yeah.
That's so great though, because when you assume that you
Hit
think
it.
you know.
Yeah, I do know. You can say it anyway.
What?
And you assume what?
That it's rude.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something else.
Oh, I don't know what I was thinking you were thinking I was going to say.
That all as like when you assume you make a blank out of you and me.
Oh, no, I
That
wasn't going to
thing.
say
I
that.
thought you were going there.
No.
Come on,
No.
Canada. Get it together.
No, I just assume people are being rude.
Yeah.
But I don't want to assume because I don't know what's really going on.
Yeah.
I'm curious though. Are you able to like turn it off, or you just have to be very mindful in them? Like, how does that work?
If I'm Coach Pete or, engaged in a conversation with work, like I can clean it up. I can turn it off. No problem. But
you're like you have to be more mindful in like thinking about it, or?
Not at all. Not at all. I actually learned how to do it through breathing.
Fascinating.
Yeah. I'll start focusing on my breath. Yeah, it's really weird. Or I try to listen to the silence between a person's sentences or their words.
Right.
And it seems like I'm not paying attention, but I'm more keenly listening. It's one of my tricks. I listen to the silence between someone's words, the inflections. I'm really paying attention to them. And what do you know? I end up retaining a lot more of what they say. But in the social world, it's completely different. It's the guy that, and I've done it. I've done it to you, like when we're recording the podcasts, or certainly when we're live. I'm good. I'm good for that. Like I will talk over you, and I certainly do not mean it.
I talk over you too.
Yeah, but I think I'm like the big bad wolf when I do it. You know what I mean? You're like Little Red Riding Hood. No, you don't? Okay, cool.
No, I don't. Because I feel like I'm talking too much, and like poor Pete doesn't get to say his thing.
Yeah, I hear you.
There was so I had mentioned there are things that I find helpful. Is asking myself, do I know that to be true? And the second thing, maybe there's more, but these are only in my head right now. Curiosity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Be more curious.
Yes.
And I can find that at moments when I start getting mad at people.
Don't do that.
Well, why do they think this? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I would. Do you like when I do that? Blah, 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 blah.
I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I
do like that.
And people, and I have friends who remind me, Steph, be curious.
Be curious.
Why does this person vote this way?
Oh, you're talking about that stuff. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's also happening now in Canada. Why do they think like this? Why, I think I know. I think I know everything. And, but I don't. And so it's like, be more curious. So helpful in those moments.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be that person that I used to be who's always like judging right away, thinking you're bad. Like it was, I grew up very all or nothing type of thinking. So you're either good or bad. You're bad and I'm good. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So no, that's not helpful. And it causes more division. So
yeah. Bad, good. Yes, definitely shades of gray, a lot of them. But I think if we are more curious, that's just that. I've tried that. Like I've never made it a whole day in a curious state, but I like lived out a morning like that. And it was friggin' awesome. But I just haven't gotten back to it. And now that you say that, maybe I will, because when you get curious, it changes those perceptions and your assumptions too, obviously. So I just think it's really important to do that. So thanks for the reminder.
It's always I think we always need that reminder. We do. Yeah, I should get a tattoo.
Oh God.
I have a gratitude tattoo on my wrist because I get the ding. Because I started learning about gratitude in 2020. Okay. And I was like, I need that reminder.
Was it from your tattoo artist?
No, it was from just stuff I was learning
Yeah.
and starting to talk more about gratitude. And I thought, you
Mm.
know what? That would make I wanted to get another tattoo.
Yeah.
And I thought that would be a really good one. It's quite big on my wrist though. But I think be more curious would be another one that's really good. Because I'd rather be
Yeah, I like it, but
curious
I don't
than
know if it's
judgy.
worthy of a tattoo. I have to be honest with you.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not anti-tattoo, but you won't see me getting one.
No. I
I
have
mean, if you
two.
got one, keep it. If you don't, then use your judgment. That's kind of how I see it. You know, what I mean, kid, that's so
Yeah.
whatever works. Hey
Amazing.
guys, if you've just hopped on, this is Echoes of Understanding with Stephanie and Webb and me, Pete. And this is Echoes of Understanding. I just said that, right? Beyond Assumptions. So we're kind of just working through this title and the notion that if we just get curious, right, we may be able to cure the bad assumptions that we have and misunderstandings. So to me, that's like the nugget. You just said it, like, get curious and stay curious. But who has the time for that, right? Who has the time for that? Let's just continue to rock out with our preconceived ideas and notions. And I know you're like that because you look like that. And I know you're like that because I think when I walked past your house, you were looking at CNN or you were looking at Fox News. So I know who you are and what you're all about because I walked past your house and I saw a news network on. So I identify like they're one of me or they're not, right? It's just crazy. But we all do it. I know I certainly do. I
Yeah.
really do.
It's really
And wonder
easy.
what, it's funny that you say that because you just brought something to mind. You said, how do I do that when I'm, doing advocacy work or coaching? Like that's it. I am curious and I ask questions, curious questions, right? And that's how I stay quiet, right? And I don't speak over people. I get curious.
Ah,
Thanks for putting that together for me.
you're welcome.
I'd ring
That's
the
why
bell,
we're
but
here.
it was your thing. It was your win, not mine. I was just observing it. Just an observation.
Well, and how we see things through the lens of our background,
Yeah.
our culture, our understandings, our belief systems, everything. Like I grew up very sheltered, as you know, very
Yeah.
religious, and it was like through the lens of that, I
Yeah.
assumed so much about other people,
Mm-hmm.
and also in the all or nothing type of thinking. Man, and that causes great anxiety. That was one of the big things for my anxiety was just that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm good, you're bad. And also knowing that that was kind of BS, but not really knowing it. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Yeah.
It does. I mean, I'm assuming it does. Pun intended. Pun intended.
I have a funny story.
Hit it.
Okay. So, I mean, I don't really watch true crime as much as I used to. Once in a while, I watch Dateline or whatever, but
It's a big deal, that true crime stuff, right?
especially for females, I don't know what it
Oh
is.
God, my daughter-in-law is like cook, bro. She's hook,
She's
line, and
like,
sinker.
cook? What does that
Hooked.
mean? Oh,
Hooked.
hooked. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were using a term I didn't know.
I was trying to say the word and sip my word at the same time. It didn't work out.
Well, I was chatting with I was at Starbucks yesterday and
Chatting.
chatting
Mm-hmm.
with one of the baristas because I have fun with them. And she's like, she studied criminology and psychology. And I was like, cool, dude. And she goes, yeah, I love. And I said, I used to watch Criminal Minds. And she goes, me too. Because I said, human behavior is so fascinating.
Yeah.
And see, that's why I like it. I like studying human behavior.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so I had a roommate once. Well, yeah, I had a few. Anyway,
You go through a lot of roommates.
I did. Well, they would come
Cool.
for school and then
Yeah.
it was just anyway.
Gotcha.
And she said to me, "You like death." And I was like, "What?" Because I did not and I don't enjoy I was actually scared of death.
Mm-hmm.
Not as much anymore, but I was when I was sure where I was going.
Yeah.
That's weird. But anyway, and she goes, Well, you like these true crime shows, so you like death. And there was a big, beautiful cemetery near the house. It was the only peaceful place I could go to in Toronto. And I liked going for walks there because it was quiet and there was a water fountain and beautiful gardens. And so she goes, well, you like the cemetery and you like watching true crime. You like death. And I was like, actually, that's the opposite of anything you assume you know about me. It made me laugh, though. Like, that's a really weird assumption. And yet, that's what she assumed.
That was the assumption. That was the assumption. Yeah, cool. Cool. I'm getting it. I'm reading you.
You're reading me.
Yeah, and as you're talking, I'm trying to be like really good and not speak over you, but I completely lost my story. Because your story is pretty cool. Yeah, I completely lost it. Well, it actually started when I said you have a lot of roommates. I'm like, dude, stop trying to be witty. Just remember your story. So when she's done with hers, you can tell it. But that didn't work out for me.
This is why you need pen and paper.
I spoke out. Is that why I need pen and paper?
You should see my paper.
I probably should have it, but instead I always have my bell ringer thing in my hand, like waiting for that moment. Like, dude, put it down, bro. Get over it.
You should see my piece of paper. I have all these little notes. I was on a podcast earlier, so I have notes from there. I have notes from this talk I'm doing in October, and I have notes from like whatever the hell I'm doing. I don't even know. It is all over the place, but
yeah,
that's how I am. I'm like, what?
You're a note person.
Yeah, but they're all over.
There we go.
They're not organized. Sorry.
Yeah, mine are. Like, I think I'm showing you a picture of my whiteboard, and then it's framed by color coded. I love it. Post-it notes, and they all mean something, right? So I write my world down on those Post-its. That's how I just have to do it. Very visual, as you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, very visual.
Hey guys, welcome to. I beat you to it. Welcome to Echoes of Understanding with Steph and Pete. We come live every Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern here on Noom Vibe. And tonight we're talking about Beyond Assumptions.
Yeah, I assume so. Yeah.
One thing that, coming back to the topic, one thing that...
Do we have to?
Yeah, we do.
We're back.
I heard is approach people like a sacred story we haven't read yet.
Brilliant.
Isn't that fascinating?
That is.
I think that's beautiful. I want to live more like that. I want to live more with curiosity and with seeing people like a sacred story we haven't read yet. How cool is that?
That's beautiful, actually. I love that.
Yeah. I got a message from Laura, and she said, because she's Romanian, right?
Yes.
She's like, people assume I'm Hispanic or that my accent is German. I wonder why German, though, Laura. That's funny.
Eastern European.
But why German specifically? Is it
That's
like the
what
biggest
people
thing
come up with? Just like
so.
Some people from oh, you can do this, Peter. Someone from New Zealand or Australia. Are you from England? No, dude, we're not. So that kind of a thing, right? Maybe
I'm bad with that.
See.
Sometimes sometimes I can pick up. Actually, South African. There was a lady at my sister's church once, and I said, "Oh, are you South African?" And she said, "Yes," because normally I would have assumed British. I used to do that, but I have a friend who's South African, and I so got used to her accent that now I can pick up South African.
See that?
But I used to assume it was British, right? Because and some people have a hard time with accents. Because if they can sound similar if you don't have that understanding of them, but
I know
I know A.
Yeah, that's it. I was trying to do it. Apparently, it wasn't resonating with you, so I guess
I heard it.
Canadian A is not that great. Not that great at all. Yeah.
A boot.
So, what is it?
A boot.
A boot.
Out in a boot. No, I don't say a boot.
Oh, out in a boot. Okay, say that again because I can't do it.
A boot. Out and about.
Out and about.
I think I say it normally, but I totally don't. I don't know. Anyway,
Anyway,
it's funny.
it
I used to
is.
get offended at stuff like that.
Did you? Why? What was your assumption
I
about it?
don't know because
Mm,
well, anytime people were making fun of me, I took it very personally. And now I'm just like, that's funny.
yeah.
But I was very sensitive
You've
to,
done the work of the work. You've worked on things, right? That's what
yeah,
kind of took it to the next level.
because also when you, oh, I'm bumping my mic here. When you can make fun of yourself, it takes that power back.
Yeah, it really does. Don't take yourself so seriously, right?
9. My mom's Austrian,
9.
so
That's kind of like
people assume she's
German.
German, but they're
Yeah.
very close anyway. But uh,
Mm,
my so I just do this thing where I'm like 9 because 9 means no,
I know.
and I just go 9. My mom just
I
is
know.
like, "What are you doing?" I'm
Yeah.
just weird like that.
So I'm going to teach my dog German commands. I've decided that.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. So, for those of you who don't know, but do know me, in 2 weeks, I am adopting a boy, boy, a
A
Belgian
boy.
Malinois. He's a boy. Yeah, he's a Belgian Malinois. And I am super psyched, super excited to go get him and grab him. I was supposed to have gotten him this month, but like life got really crazy in the disability advocacy world. You can guess why, right? So I had to change some things around. Yeah, yeah. I had 2 destinations planned, and the only one that happened was the one that was unplanned. That was DC. So it's just been really crazy in that world. But see, there I go, ADHD. But anyway, yeah, he's coming home, and when he does, you'll see him on social media because I'm going to post. I'm going to post him.
Yay.
But I've been really looking forward to it because listen, my mom passed. It'll be a year in a couple of months or so, right? And as you know, Stephanie, that's how I found Noon Vibe. Like mom passed, and I was sitting here on a Friday night, distinctly realizing that not only was I alone, but I was getting lonely. And I'm like, oh, I downloaded this Noon Vibe app. Let me check it out. I hit it, and then I was playing around with it. And I all of a sudden hit the circle on the right, and I came live. And yeah, and I talked with Coach Casey at the time, and just I became hooked. But at any rate, it's been a thing for me, and I've talked about how I kind of manage stress and how I navigate things. And I do live alone, and Samantha the body pillow ain't cut it no more, right? Siri and Alexa, with their constant reminders, aren't doing it for me anymore. So it's time to step it up and get man's best friend, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's it. So he's coming in 2 weeks. So I can't wait. I'm very excited about that.
Nice.
Yeah, it is nice. And my therapist has been telling me since forever ago, since before COVID, I beg your pardon, you need an emotional support dog, or you need a dog or a pet. And I'm like, yeah, I do, but I just didn't get it. And then like COVID came, and then, I had to come down here and take care of mom. And that was it. All that was put aside. And then I started focusing on that and putting it out to the universe, to the architect, capital A of the universe. And lo and behold, my boy, he's coming home. Can't wait. That's worth a ring. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's it. Hey, this is
Nice.
Echoes of Understanding with Steph and Pete, and you're on Noon Vibe, of course. And we're a free wellness community, and we're laser focused on living longer, better lives together. How was that?
That was
Good?
awesome.
Nah, you're too kind. You're too kind.
So, can we come back to the topic?
I'm rigid. Go on.
Yay. Okay,
So
so we're
set
talking
my
about
own
beyond
ways.
assumptions.
Yeah.
Another thing that, and I think this is something that we do ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
the way we assume we're being perceived is how we think
Mm-hmm.
others are thinking about us.
And that ain't necessarily so, is it?
No,
Wow.
there's, I, oh, was it Julie? Julie from here, from Noon Vibe on Facebook? She posted this video. or was it somebody else? Now I can't remember. I think it was Julie, about how we see other people and what we see in other people.
Yeah.
And when those people tell us, I see this in you, and you don't see it for yourself, but that
Yeah.
encouragement from somebody else lifts you up. And to have somebody else say that, and it's so wonderful because it's in those people that see something in you.
Yeah.
And you've been one of those people for me. You encourage me. You see things in me that sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm this. And you're like, yes, you are.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm assuming, based on my own past experiences, sometimes I'm keeping myself small.
Okay.
I do this a lot less, but I still do this at times.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm assuming about myself. And I think others are thinking that, but others are not thinking that.
Yeah. Others are certainly not thinking that. But I thank you for saying that, by the way. And you do the same for me. Now, in this world, the podcasting world, you've let me in on a lot of trade secrets or industry secrets. Well, probably pretty basic, but they were all new to me. And you encouraged me to pursue it. And I've been doing that. And, so I appreciate you as well, Stephanie Ann Webb. And it's kind of like people say like the mirror is how you see yourself, but a photo is how the world sees you. Should you ever look at yourself in the mirror and like, yeah, I'm cool, because you're focusing on whatever, and then you see a photo and like, that doesn't look like the one I saw in the mirror.
Isn't it also because what we're seeing is the opposite of what the camera sees? Like the side of you that you're used to seeing is turned around.
The perception, yeah, it could be, but I think
Something
it's
with the camera.
more. I think it's a dysmorphia of sorts, a very mild form of that. But I think
Yeah.
that's what that saying was kind of getting at, if I'm not mistaken. If someone knows, please ring the bell, and I can't say come on up, but you can certainly hit one of our faces and send us a message, and we'll be sure to check it out. In fact, there's some messages right now. Yeah. Ooh,
Oh, you got messages.
I do. Okay, this is from Merriam-Webster. Congratulations on the Malinois, little boy, Zaddy. Thanks, sister. Dogos are friend magnets. Dogos. Well, yeah, they are friend magnets. I definitely need some more friends, I think, right? And you know what's strange is this. I've been walking, around my complex for a while now, and I changed my route about 3 months ago, and I always walk up to the dog park here and just kind of envision my dog with me. I don't carry a leash and say meet my invisible dog or anything, but I actually envisioned it, and lo and behold, comes to fruition. And I bought leashes that I hung in my house in preparation for my pup.
Visualization.
Manifestation. Yeah.
Yay.
Make room for it as if it is already so. Make a room for it. Like that old adage, if you're focusing on manifesting a car and you have, say, a 2-car garage, but you open it, it's all storage, and maybe you ought to clean at least half of it out so you can fit that new car in there. You're making appropriation by action. We receive what we've been focusing on. I think that's kind of how it goes, is it not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one thing like I learned from Louise Hay.
Hey.
Was how like visualize yourself, speak to yourself as to what you want.
Yeah.
And so those self assumptions that we have, those things that we think, I'm not good enough, I'm not this or that,
right,
we can turn it around. We can start to love ourselves.
Yes.
I used to look at myself in the mirror, Pete, and I was like, ew, I'm so ugly, I'm so fat.
Really?
All the time. Because first of all, I was comparing myself with others.
Yeah.
Like the models and the movie stars. But also that's how I perceive myself. And that's how I showed up in the world. I'm like, kept myself small. I'm not pretty like them. I'm not, and first of all, looks don't matter. It's who you are.
That's right.
And that shines through anyways. But yeah, just speaking love to yourself. At first, when I heard that, I was like, this sounds so, are you sure? Like, what? But
Right.
no, it does. It does matter.
Yeah. So like I think about that. Like, how do I speak love to myself? I don't, I'm not crazy about my life today, or I don't feel very loving towards myself. I would postulate, I would submit that if we know what it looks like. So if we have a vague idea of how that would be, so I like if you did love yourself, what would that look like? Or if you did love yourself, how would you wake up tomorrow morning? If you did love yourself, what would you choose for your next meal, your next 3 meals? If you did love yourself, fill in the blank. So you may not feel like you love yourself, but if you engage in those acts of self-love, that is in fact love. If you engage in acts of self-love and self-care, that is in fact a manifestation of love. Now your emotions will catch up with that. It can't not. It does it by law, by the way. Your emotions will catch up, but it's kind of a byproduct. They're very secondary. However, if you're feeling like you love yourself, you can definitely engage in those acts of self-love as well, and that can be kind of a springboard or a catalyst to do that. But I think more often than not, folks who struggle with it, I don't really love myself, and that whole adage that you can't really love anybody else if you don't love yourself, that's just not true. That's not true. Did you know that?
I I wasn't sure about that one.
Okay. Talk to
Huh.
me.
Well, I don't know. I just always assume because people I
People say
assumed
it. It
because
must be true.
experts say it. So,
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah. So how do you
Well, I've run into more than a few moms who are not their own biggest fans. In fact, they kind of despise themselves, right? But they love their kids to death. They love them like no other. They may love their spouse and do all those things for them and be a very loving person, but really treat themselves poorly. So I think you can love without performing acts of love
Well,
to yourself or with you.
one thing I'm curious about though
Sure.
is that sometimes people will do things for others because they want that love back or they are people pleasers or whatever. Not that
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
I'm just curious, like that's how I would love others
Yeah.
because even though I didn't love myself. I don't know. That's interesting though.
No, it makes sense. That makes sense. There's a lot around that, right? There's a lot around that.
Yeah.
Because there's certainly a time, that especially when I, after the bomb had went off uh, with my recovery, like I was not my biggest fan. I kind of despised myself, right? And I always said I like my life blew up, but I lit the fuse, and I could not stand myself. Wouldn't look in the mirror. Wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
stay in the mirror for very long. That's how much I despise myself, and I'm ashamed of myself. But I still love those around me. I still
Mm-hmm.
expressed love, if not probably more then than ever, because I was like, I just let you guys down, and um, I'm going to get back on track here. But I really was really hard on myself, and I just had to learn how to shift that, and I was able to do that through therapy, a lot of therapy, in conjunction with my recovery coach was, in fact, a sponsor in the 12-step program. So that's what kind of worked for me. But I would think that everybody talks about self-love, but I'm not so sure it would not be a bad topic for echoes of understanding.
That would
I'm
be a
not,
great topic.
I think it'd be a great topic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And once again that comes down to assumptions. Are we assuming that people can't love themselves, can't love others if they don't love themselves?
right.
I assume that
Yeah,
because
a lot of
you
people
hear
do,
that
right?
all the time.
You hear it, right? Yeah.
So we got like just a few more minutes left.
Do we?
Um, we do,
Yeah.
unless you wanted to come back up.
No, I think this has been okay. I wish we had started talking about loving ourselves a little earlier, but that's okay.
That's not
You
the
know why?
topic.
Yeah, that'll be the topic next week, perhaps.
Oh,
But
we got a message from Laura. She said, when I used to be very quiet in my younger years, some
mhm,
people assumed I was arrogant or that I felt superior, and I sure
yeah,
did not. Yeah. It can
mm,
come across if you're kind of quiet, some people can think you think you're all that.
Right. Or you think they're not all that. Or some derivative of that, I think.
Or whatever people think.
Yeah. Noses in the air. Kind of sometimes like you are with me because you're Canadian.
Well, I am above you.
I know that.
Literally.
I know that.
That's
We
funny.
don't need to remind. Thank you very much. I know that.
Oh.
Gosh, this has been fun.
Oh,
I'm going to
guys,
go and
this is
stand
how
in
we
front of my
talk to
mirror
each
right
other.
now. Yeah. Like I'm going to, like, I just, yeah. Ouch. Ouch.
Oh.
Ouch. That hurt.
So,
Yeah.
so this is Echoes of Understanding with Steph and Pete, and we
Yes.
go live every Saturday evening
Mhm.
here on Noon 5 at 8 p.m. Eastern.
We do.
We also
Yeah.
have a different like this podcast, but we record separately as well, and that comes out Thursdays on
Does it?
YouTube and any audio podcasting platform. If you click my
Platform.
face,
Mhm.
it'll take you to my profile, and you can click on the link tree. It has it on there. I made sure I put all that stuff. I have all these links for everything on my link tree.
You know, I don't have a link tree. Never have. Maybe I should get one.
Yeah, I said
Yeah.
I'd do one for you.
Yeah, I just don't. I've just never done it.
If you
Like
want
I don't.
one.
And I guess it's cool to do that, right? I guess I'll do that, but I don't have one, right? A link tree. I don't have a link tree, and I lost my thought. Okay, I didn't. Oh, I didn't lose my thought. I do have some parting thoughts. So I always say too that I may not know you, but I do love you in and through this amazing universe. And Stephanie Ann Webb, I love you too. How's that?
I love you too.
I bet you're smiling right now.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm always smiling. No, that's not true.
Okay. Well, guys, thanks for joining us on Echoes of Understanding.
Thank you, guys. Sending love to you all. Bye.